Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to do my currently inked for the month of September. I have 10 pens here. The first pen up is the Lamy Vista. Then we have the Pelikan M600. We have a Pinata Avatar UR. Another Pinata, this is the Avatar UR Deluxe. This is a LeBouf Pilgrim Truffet exclusive. A Leonardo Momento Zero Foresta Umbra Gold Spot exclusive, a Pilot Custom 823 in medium, a Platinum Maki-e, this is in Mount Fuji, a Keiko Edge in extra fine, and we have a Pilot Silverin, and this is the Jaguar. Some of these pens I've shown before, but most of them are actually new. Not necessarily new to me, but new to the channel. So I am just going to go through each and kind of talk about what I like about them. These were pretty much the highlight of my month. I do ink up quite a bit of pens each month, so this is probably the top 10. So I'm not really going to have any negatives about these. So I'm just going to get started here. We'll talk about the Lamy Vista. I'll move this out of the way. And I'm just using some Rhodia dot grid paper. Just the usual Rhodia. So first up we have the Lamy Vista. And this is a fine point. This pen was definitely a pleasant surprise for the month, because it's a fairly low cost pen, but definitely has grown to be one of my favorite Lamys to use. So this is the Lamy Vista. And this is a fine steel nib. And the ink in here is just the included blue cartridge. Such a nice writer. I didn't have to do any tweaking or anything to this. It was just perfect out of the box. So this pen feels like a good journaling pen. This is it using the Yoseka stationery log. Oh, the Yoseka nib log, I should say. So I'll take this out so you can see it. So you can see there, it's a nice fine point. And this is just some generic 100 GSM paper. It's a fairly dry writing pen. And so these are just some of my thoughts about it. It's very smooth. It's good for note-taking and journaling. It performs very well above its price point. Very reliable. And it's a really super firm nib. So if you're new to fountain pens, this is a good starting point. Even if you're not, it's just a very nice writing pen. Next up we have the Pelikan Sovereign M600 in the red tortoiseshell. And this is oddly an extra fine, 14 karat. I say oddly because it's a very thick, as you can see, very thick extra fine. The ink in here is Diamine. And writer's blood has been here in this pen for the entire time. This pen did take a while to grow on me, but I'm coming to enjoy it quite a bit. And for those that don't know, this is the writer's blood swatch. Kind of a deep red purple. Kind of matches with the pen, but not exactly. And this is it in the Your second nib log. It's about a line width of 0.4. Again, it's an extra fine diamine writer's blood. You can see I smeared that. It wasn't the pen, it was me. And then we have, as I said, a thick extra fine. It's a beautiful writer. And I've had this inked for a while and haven't used it. I don't use it on a daily basis, but it goes very long periods of time with non-use, and it doesn't hard start or anything. It's a semi-soft nib. It's very comfortable, posted or not. It's a good, kind of a small pen. Classy but simple. Wet writer. And I'll show you the nib. So there is the nib. It's a very nice 14 karat gold nib. Next up, surprise, surprise, we have a Pinatar Avatar UR. In my video from, I think it was a couple months ago, or maybe a month ago, I went on and on about how unreliable the Pinatars were. And I knew that I was going to end up getting another one. And I actually stated that in the video. And I saw Atlas had a last chance on the Pinatar Avatar UR Deluxe, which with a 14 karat. Unfortunately, fortunately, they accidentally sent me this one, which is just a plain Avatar UR with a steel nib. And I didn't send this back. I inked it up and said I'm gonna give it a try just to see. And surprise, surprise, it actually performed very well out of the box. So I kept it and had them send me a replacement. So this is the Pinatar Avatar UR, and this color is Riase or Rias, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. And this is an extra fine steel nib. The ink in here is Private Reserve. And Sherwood Green. It's also a very firm nib. So this is a swatch of the Private Reserve Sherwood Green. This is the Fast Dry. And here is your second nib log. It's about a 0.3 line width. It's a traditional extra fine, I would say. And somewhat dry. Very firm. A super firm nib. I said it's an excellent writer. No tweaks needed for this Pinatar, which was a pleasant surprise. It worked very well right out of the box. There is some minor leaking at the section, as you can see there. I'm not sure why it does that, but it's not too much. I just cleaned it off after every use. And it's a fairly lightweight pen. And the section to me is very comfortable, although it's thin. It's not slippery because you have this lip here. And it's a cartridge converter. Again, a magnetic cap. And it just posts regular, doesn't post magnetically, but very nice pen. Good job on this one, Pinatar. So my replacement, I ordered the replacement in the same color, but unfortunately that one had the replacement had some issues. So Brendan and team all did a great job in helping me fix the issue. So they were going to send me the one that I ordered originally in the deluxe version, but that one had issues because Pinatar doesn't use any glue. Brendan called me and told me that the section wasn't quite right. It was too loose, so he wasn't comfortable sending me that one. So I picked a new one, and so I went with the green, forest green. So I'll do a little writing sample of this one. And I got this one in a fine Avatar UR Deluxe. And this is because it's a deluxe, it's a 14 karat. The ink in here, they also sent me some complimentary ink. This is Monte Grappa green. Looks pretty much like the Sherwood green, actually, just a little darker because this is a much thicker nib. It is skipping a little bit. I think I just need to prime the feed. It hasn't been doing that, so that's not on the pen, but it's pretty much the same except for gold trim and a 14 karat gold nib. So beautiful quill nib, super flexy. It's a cartridge converter filler as well. The same quill clip. So this is Monte Grappa green. There's a little bit of shading in there. No shimmer or anything, but that's Monte Grappa green. And here we have Pinata Avatar UR Deluxe Forest Green, fine 14 karat. Line width is about 0.45, fairly thick. It is a wet writer. Unfortunately, this paper is not the perfect paper to show the wetness. It's kind of a absorbent paper. So that's the softness testing. It's very flexy soft nib. Beautiful flex, also perfect out of the box. And it's not ideal for this paper. There's a lot of ghosting. I circled it on that. And this is it in reverse. So all in all, I'm very pleasantly surprised and happy with the two Pinaters here. Next we have the Booth Pilgrim True Fay exclusive. I've shown this before in a currently inked, I do believe, but I had it uninked for a while, so I came back to it. The Booth Pilgrim, and this is True Fay exclusives. True Fay exclusive. True Fay. Let me spell this right. True Fay exclusive. And this is a fine steel nib, probably a Yobo steel, I'm thinking. And the ink is Diamine Three Kings. And this is from Inkvent 2022. I like this ink. I did regress a little bit. I said in some previously currently inks that I was going to try to stop using so much blue and black, and not blue and black, but blue and green, and I definitely regressed this time, but I did put some Three Kings in here. So that's the Le Booth. Definitely not my favorite color pattern. I don't, as I've said before, I don't like cracked ice, but the performance of the nib definitely made up for the looks for me. So I love that pen. Here's Diamine Three Kings. And here it is on the, it performed pretty well on this paper, I would say. So it's about a 0.3. It's a fine. And that's the writing sample. Very firm nib. I said it's almost like a nail, which is not a bad thing. It posts, but it's back weighted. Very reliable. I think this is good for journaling. The ink flow is very good, very controlled. Just a very pleasant writing experience. It just feel kind of on the extra fine side, but yeah, I really enjoyed this, and I did say that the quality and writing experience makes up for the looks, in my opinion. But I know a lot of people like the cracked ice look, so, but it's just not my favorite look. So next up we have the Leonardo Momento Zero Ghost Spot exclusive. This is the Foresta Umbra. I saw this on Lau Kitchen Crafts YouTube channel. I originally saw this on Ghost Spot, and I wasn't too wowed by the pictures. But when I saw Lau's, I was like, oh, that's a gorgeous pen that he has. So I went ahead and ordered one. Mine is not quite as pretty as his, but I think it's a beautiful pen. I wish mine was a little bit more spread out here. You see, you have the body here, there's a lot of brown, cap is mostly green. I wish it was more even, but other than that, I still think it's very beautiful. So I'm very happy with this. And the nib is the high point. So this is just a steel nib, Leonardo steel nib, and this is a fine. It does post nicely. It's not back weighted or anything, so it's very comfortable posted. I just tend not to write with the pens posted. So this is the Leonardo Momento Zero. Foresta Umbra. It's just a beautiful, beautiful writer. Fine steel. And the ink in here, I had to put a tree inspired ink in here, so my excuse to use Diamine Spruce. Just a nice scented ink, very deep green. So this is Diamine Spruce. Doesn't look as deep green on this card as it does on the paper, but very nice. Here is the Yoseka nib log. It's about a 0.4 line width. Well, it's kind of, I think it's a perfect medium between dry and wet. There's no flex or anything, and firm, smooth, nice writing experience, no negatives. It's just, yeah, a perfect writer, just a perfect pen. I haven't had it that long, but for the most part, all my Leonardos are pretty sturdy. But I really love this pen. And speaking of love, here's my Pilot Custom 823. So the Pilot Custom 823 is definitely probably in my top 2. I never go to work without this pen, so this pen is with me every day. Although the Monte Grappa Mia remains my favorite pen, this one still goes with me every day. So we'll switch hands. Show my left hand some love. I'll have to adjust some things when I do that. So make sure I'm in frame. So Pilot, I'm gonna unpost this. Pilot Custom. And the smoothness of this nib, I just can't express it in words. It's just one of a kind. Medium, 14 karat. The ink in here is Pilot Iroshizuku. Ajisai, which is the ink that's always in here. I said this before, it was so funny because I hated this pen in the beginning. It just wasn't right. So I put Ajisai in it, and the rest is history. This is, if you only want one fountain pen, this is definitely my recommendation. So it's about a 0.35 line width. It's a kind of a Western fine, a typical, I would say, Pilot medium. And it says dry there, but it's not really a dry nib. A little bit of flex to this. And I said it's just a heavily nib. And a writing experience I can't explain in words. And it's a balanced wetness, just wet enough. It's perfect. Again, love this pen. So I can show you the nib up close. I didn't do that. So that's the nib. And here we have the Platinum Maki. I have a review of this pen somewhere in my early days. So that's the Platinum Maki. It's the Mount Fuji. You see the Mount Fuji Maki-e there. Another lovely pen. It's a Maki-e. Mount Fuji. This is a medium, 18 karat. You can see it's kind of, if you can hear it, it's a little toothy, but it's that really good tooth. And the ink in here, what do I have in here? I have Diamine, another Inkvent 2022, Serendipity, and there's a swatch. Oh, I forgot to show Ajisai, but there's Ajisai in the Custom A23. Here's Diamond Serendipity. And again, the Ajisai. And as far as the Yoseka nib log, you can see shimmer and some shading. Has kind of a red shade to it. So it's again a medium 18 karat, but a line weight of 0.35 or so. And it's pretty wet, and there's a softness testing. It does flex very nicely. It's a Bounty nib, perfect fine medium line weight. It's a very lightweight pen. Beautiful artwork, and I've been carrying this around, and there's no flaking, no peeling of the artwork on here, so it's very sturdy. Also, no scratches. I did have some issues. I forget which ink I had in it, but it would kind of corrode around here, so I cleaned that up and haven't had any issues with the Serendipity. I was a little hesitant to put the Serendipity in it, but hasn't had any issues so far. So that's the Maki-e. And next we have the Keiko Edge. I bought this off of Amazon. I've been wanting one of these pens for a while and just didn't want to order it from overseas, but when I saw it on Amazon, I snapped it up. And you can see it kind of looks like a Lamy 2000, and it is made of the actual Macaron. And it does snap very similarly to the, because it also has the nibs that the Lamy 2000 uses. The nib is very different from the Lamy 2000, and this is a cartridge converter filler. So this is the Keiko Edge, and this is an extra fine steel nib. Feels kind of like a medium. The ink I have in here is Birmingham Pen Company Electric Patina. I don't think I cleaned out the cartridge well enough, because it's kind of it's a little bit darker than you would see on the swatch. But there's Electric Patina. And it's pretty dark. Again, this is another firm nib. So there's the nib. But this has been a very nice writer. I have had a little bit of issue with hard starting with the Electric Patina, but other than that, with the original cartridge, it wrote very nicely, but that ink in that cartridge was very, it didn't dry very well. It was very thick and kind of, it would smear a little bit. So I wouldn't recommend the ink that comes with it. Although it looks nice on paper, it just smears terribly. And I would say to Lamy has the Studio that uses this type of clip, and Keiko of course uses it on the edge. Yeah, just stop doing. No one likes these clips. I haven't heard anyone that likes these. It probably seems like a good idea on paper, but yeah, just stop with that. I hate these clips, but the pen definitely makes up for it. This Microlon feels great. The writing experience is great, and this is like a $6 pen. So, but I still will always complain about that clip. So that's the Kaiko Edge. On the Yoseka nib log, it's about a 0.3 line width, extra fine. There's electric patina. You can see here. There's a little red and green and blue. Very wet ink, although it doesn't show very well on this. Soft. It's a very firm nib, but definitely $6. Feels very quality. I said it's a little slick. I don't know why I said that. It's a little slick. Oh yeah, the section is a little slick. See right here, this is the Microlon part is, you know, very comfortable. There's no sliding. But when you get down here, it's a different kind of a material. It's yeah, it's metal. So yeah, it is slick. And I said it's Microlon. It's a Lamy semi-clone, Lamy 2000 semi-clone. I said semi because it's not exactly. It just has the body shape, and the nubs here, the capping, very similar, and it does use that stupid Lamy Studio clip. So, lastly, for fountain pens, we have the Pilot Silverin. I had a viewer suggest that I show this more often. And sorry, I forgot, I think it was a male, I forgot his name. But I decided to pull this out in the middle of the month and show it some love. I had it uninked for a while, resting. But this is the Pilot Silverin Jaguar. And I've shown this quite a bit. So it's a snap cap. And there is the beautiful nib. So it's a beautiful nib, beautiful 18 karat nib. This is the Pilot Silverin. Extra fine. No, I'm sorry. Medium 18 karat. Switch back. Medium 18 karat. Let me just start this over because that looks a hot mess. Pilot Silverin. I got distracted because my camera for some reason turned itself off. I'm not sure if it's working. Pilot Silverin Jaguar. It's a medium 18 karat. Very nice bouncy nib. And it's the same ink that I always use in here. Pilot Iroshizuku Kujaku. Just seems like a perfect combination. So this is the Kujaku. And here it is on the paper. You can see it looks more green on the paper, but it's a 0.4 millimeter line width. Nice Pilot medium. Very wet. Very soft, nice flexy. And this does post nicely, although I don't post it because I don't want to scratch it. But it does post. It posts very deeply. So it's very good if you don't want to misplace the cap or anything. And this did patina for me after about 4 months. It was very uneven patina. It didn't really look very good, so I did polish it up for this month's use. Very beautiful pen. Artistic. You can see the Jaguar there. It is somewhat scratch prone, so I am careful with it. And it has a beautiful flex, as you can see here. So those are my pens for the month. I do have a couple other pen related instruments that I did enjoy for the month. So the first is my Rotring 600. This is a pen. So I've masked quite quite a few Rotrings. Have a decent collection, about 5 pens and pencils. So this is a Rotring 600, and this is a ballpoint, but I put in some Unibeam. It's called Unibeam gel refills. So that's what I use in these. This is so smooth. Gel pens are actually my favorite pens to write with. Just very nice pen. It's not heavy, but it does have some heft to it. But that's the Rotring 600. When I don't want to write with a fountain pen, I'll pick this up. And lastly, it's a pencil. This is one of those, what they call Inkless Forever pencils. They don't really, it doesn't need sharpening. It uses these replaceable tips that you just replace, and it came with several replaceable tips. It's very light. It's about, I would say, an HB, not an HB, like a H. It goes between an H and I would say a 4H. That is about as dark as I can get it. There's an artist, I forget which artist it was, but she did a very nice video where she actually sat down and she scribbled with one of these to see how long this tip would last. I think she went like 2 hours of just something like this, and after about 2 hours she had to replace. She just totally ground it all the way down, so it doesn't last forever. That's just something that they say, but it's very good for very light work that you want to do. It's not good for like your final touches or anything, but it's good for sketching. It definitely wouldn't work on the Rhodia paper, but yeah, I've been enjoying these, and it feels very well made. And like I said, it comes with a bunch of extra tips, so this will last for a while. So this, for me, it's hardly worn down at all. So, yep. So there are a lot of different versions on Amazon of these, so I don't think they're really any different from one another. So, but that's all that I have for this month. I hope you're all doing well. So thank you all, as always, for watching, for all the kind words. Until next time, everyone, take care.